Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mediation and Beyond's YouTube channel. And I'm super excited today. I have our presenter, Thornton Mason, founder and executive director of Mediation Resolves. Thornton is a national HR consultant and workplace mediator with over 30 years of experience preventing and resolving workplace matters. Mediation Resolves, which I love that name, specializes in HR policy consultation, preventing misunderstandings before they happen, union avoidance and deterrence, assuring no third-party interference, workplace mediation, which we need now more than ever, resolving conflicts should they arise, and HR retainer services, being available when you need them the most. Thornton also designs compensation, performance, and employee relations programs for small to medium-sized companies, and he works with both nonprofit and for-profit organizations. Prior to joining Mediation Resolves, he served in various HR executive roles where he gained extensive experience in employee and labor relations, problem identification, mediation training, and consulting, which we need now more than ever. He has served voluntarily on several boards, including the Florida State University Business School, Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, Florida Labor Management Conference, and Civitan International. Thornton earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from the University of Kansas, and he holds several professional certifications, including Executive Leadership Honors from both Harvard and the University of Michigan. He has been a long-standing member of the American Arbitration Association's Mediator Network and other national mediation organizations, and he has a passion for positive workplace relationships and refers to his specialty as a joy. So welcome, Thornton. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here with you.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to have you here. And one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on today was one, not only your background, but I wanted to kind of talk about workplace, right? That's your background. That's where you've been. That's your thing. And since obviously we've been in lockdown for 2 years, the workplace has changed. I wanted to have your take on what you see the role kind of mediation in our new kind of workplace kind of going forward, right? So workplace has changed, the dynamics shifting. We have fullback, hybrid, remote, which we never really had before. But the role of mediation and kind of navigating through that, how do you see that playing out, Thornton?
Well, the workplace mediation has grown exponentially as I think the speed of the workplace has changed. And certainly in the last 2 years with a lot of folks working from home, I think that would be the #1 change, but also a shift in demographics in the workplace, shift in staff stability. We're finding that employee issues, employee concerns, employee desires are changing at a rapid pace as well. And the role that mediation plays is, I believe, primarily to bring those with diverse interests into a room together, work out differences, work out the best options, and make plans for moving forward, and try to eliminate any simmering disagreements, problems that might exist, including even process improvement projects. I've mediated for process improvement issues before where one department believes, or one group of people believes, that they should own a particular process, and another believes they're better fit for it. There are often differences in marketing and finance people. So I've made that a little too lengthy, but the speed with which the workplace changes also is the speed with which mediation, one, is growing as an option, and secondly is being invited into the workplace to help resolve concerns, differences.
do you see, I mean, I know it hasn't been really that long since kind of everything's kind of opened back up, but do you anticipate an area where it's going to be more problematic for people going back into the workplace where mediation might be more beneficial? Do you think it's going to be whether people are wanting to stay home and work remote? Is it going to be the remote area? Is it going to be the managing how we set up and who's doing what, as opposed to, right, you know, and how to balance people from home as opposed to those needing to be in the office, like, or even choosing to be in the office, right? So do you see any like trends there or more challenges?
Well, that's a great question. And the trend that I see isn't hard changes like you've just described. They tend to be emotional changes. One of the areas that I hear the most often, it doesn't always require mediation, but in some cases does, is the leadership role of those that you work with, the work environment. I have gotten in several mediations where it's simply the logistics of who's working for who, where, and why. So the work environment has changed, I believe, perhaps as a result of people having had the opportunity to work at home, being asked to come back into the office. But even those that are working at home, I can't tell you how important the bosses up the chain of command and peers, as you look around the room, I can't tell you how important those personalities are. And we come across difficult personalities a lot that benefit from a little guidance of listening to and adapting to employee concerns that are remarkably different in 2022 than they were in 2019.
So I don't know what you're saying. So for what I see in some of the people I've spoken with back here and having a mental health background, that the people on the up the ladder don't necessarily have the tools on that emotional level. They got all the business tools, but not on the emotional level to help deal with the changes and the kind of the necessary tools to help people down the chain of command. Is that something that you're seeing too? And if you are, do you see that companies are helping those in the leadership positions to help manage that also important area of business, which is psychological wellness, so to speak?
Yeah, another good, insightful question, Colleen, because one of the shifts in the mediation work that I have seen, particularly in the last year, is a shift towards using mediation skills to solve day-to-day problems. That's as versus a formal mediation where everybody sits in a room and you spend a day describing your problem and working through the options and deciding what your priorities are and how you're going to. That's a little more of the formal, and I think what a lot of people believe workplace mediation is in the mainstream. It is, but we've been offering training to folks that are in management, including executives, on how to work through being more empathetic. And sometimes it does not come naturally to some people. So if you give them a mental formula to work through, they are far better at listening to employee concerns, listening to employee ideas, listening to employee desires, changing desires. And that's a mix in our business. If I were to have 10 mediation pieces of work sitting on my calendar, 2 years ago, all 10 of those would have been, okay, let's get a meeting room, let's get two parties together, let's
Right.
figure out the best solution. Today, it might be 7, maybe 8 in the traditional mode of mediation. The other 3 would be skills training, and we use mediation skills in that training.
And do you, that's interesting too. And I think we talked about this when we spoke a couple of weeks back, where having mediations on Zoom, as opposed to being in front of each other, loses some of that nuance, if you will, where you can read some body language, or you can have a better sense of eye contact. You can see the little nuances, an eye roll, body language, because sometimes you only see this up or even neck up, and you don't see somebody fold their arms or shuffle a little, which all matter for a mediation, because it's a whole experience, right? So what are your thoughts on doing the mediations on Zoom as opposed to doing them in person? Do they lose some flavor?
I hate to keep going back on the calendar and saying 2020 was a point of demark. Certainly, it was. COVID changed the work world and the workplace. I think that prior to 2020, I had less than 5% of mediations. And again, this is the traditional mediation, bringing two parties together in a room. Less than 5% done on video. We might have people that were participating join us for a while in the mediation to offer up whatever they had to contribute to that mediation, and then go offline. We might have had somebody on a speakerphone the entire mediation, but generally speaking, we had the parties face to face. Gee whiz, I've been doing mediation type of work for 30 years, and I prefer that face-to-face mediation still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I've been given the opportunity to do a lot more video conference mediations, and so I've made that adjustment. I've learned how to best pull out of a long distance mediation like that. The things that you mentioned, can you see the roll of the eyes? Can you see the person tapping their foot on the floor? Can you see somebody kicking somebody else underneath the table? You don't get all of that, but I've certainly made the adjustment. I might have made the adjustment kicking and screaming just a little bit, just between you, me, and the audience. But it's the mix now, I would say, is probably 70-30. Again, if I had 10 things on my calendar, 7 of them, we would find a meeting room spot and bring the participants together. The other 30 would be Zoom like this, and it works. These video products like Zoom and several others offer terrific software choices where you can put issues up on the board for everybody to see. I can do the equivalent of getting up a list on a sheet of paper and get it to everybody, and as others can. So it's changed, and I think it's an equally good world, the video mediation as the face-to-face.
Yeah, I mean, I think both bring good things to the table, right? And there's a necessity for both. And I think that's kind of the hybrid model. You do a little bit of both, but there is something about being in person that you can't kind of get on the screen, right?
There are, and by the way, we leave that entirely up to the client or clients, I should say plural. I'm not pounding my fist on the table and saying, no, 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 you got to do this. 3 years ago, I might have been saying, well, you really ought to think about being together in the same room. Today it's like, well, and so I think we've all made the adjustment to these calls and done remarkably well at it.
So you've been in the business, you said like 30 years. So have you seen a difference in the way, or maybe not, so did you see a difference in the way men and women do mediation? Or do you think it doesn't matter?
There are different ways that people handle mediation. Is that your question?
I think what I'm asking, so over the years, you've seen men do mediation, you've seen women do mediation. Do you think either men or women bring anything different to the table doing mediations, or do you think it's more just a person-to-person thing? Like, do you think women bring something different to the table versus a man, or do you think it's just the person?
Oh, I think it's just the person. I'm a little reluctant to draw broad generalizations. I do believe it both in management and executive management on boards of directors. I really find this true in human resources, that empathy is a tremendous asset, and you tend to find that more in women than you do in men. We've been raised to be very pragmatic, cut to the chase, make your decision, move on, and don't look back. And women have tended to be far more facilitative. And but again, I sort of hate to make gross.
No. It's an observation. It's not. There's no broad sweeping brush one way or another. It's an interesting question, and I like to ask it to see especially what seasoned people have seen. But it's not black and white for sure, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So let me ask you, as we bring this to a close. So you've been in the business a really long time. I shouldn't say really long time. You've been a seasoned person in the business. What would you like your legacy to the field of mediation to have been?
That it is that mediation is the norm. That it is a skill that's practiced by managers and employee groups, project groups that are working together, peers that are working together to solve problems. That it is a normal way to conduct business. I turned a clock back 20 years ago when process improvement was the hottest thing around. Everybody was talking about, how do you improve getting a product from point A to point B with the customer in mind, and process improvement was just. Well, I would like to see mediation have that dramatic of an impact. We need folks that are, I'm overusing the word, empathetic, capable of solving problems, or given a systematic way to successfully solve those problems, and for it to just be a natural. This is what we do. We don't even think about it. We have had quite a few clients over the years who've taken some of the mediation skills training who don't even think through the steps anymore. They just come out with them. And the aggravation level at work is tremendously reduced. So if I've ever contributed to making mediation and mediation skills a part of the workplace as the norm, I'll be happy.
Well, thank you, Thornton Mason, for this great conversation about mediation in the workplace. And I have no doubt that you've already created that legacy about making mediation a part of the workplace and part of people's thinking process as it comes naturally to them. And I can see that you're going to continue on that work. So thank you for joining me today in this conversation. And I'm really glad that I have met you, and I have no doubt that our paths will cross again. So thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So everyone, If you'd like to get in touch with Thornton Mason at Mediation Resolves, I will have his information in the contact below. And look for his work and look for his trainings. If you want to get in touch with him, you'll find it in the details below. So take care, Thornton, and have a great day.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.